Good evening, everyone. Only very few have joined. Hello. Hello.
Yes, madam, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay. How is weather like today? Here it's heavy rains and little bit of thundering. What about you? From it?
Going to learn, madam.
All right, okay. Now we have come to the end of our actually uh, lecture content. We have covered more or less a lot of content in the course descriptor. Okay. Am I good enough? You can hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So I thought of actually we have another 3 days schedule, right? We have another 3 days schedule, no? In the timetable. Hello? Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, there are 3 other days, 3 more days scheduled for the May lectures for this module. So shall we actually make it the last day today? And next day we will do a small revision. And then we have 2 other days. We will do presentations. Is it okay? As the assignment. As lectures covered. Hello?
Yes, madam.
We'll do like that. I will check with the office. I called them today, but I couldn't contact them. If not, there will be only one more lecture. If there are 3 other days schedule, if they allow us, we will actually make the other last 2 days presentations. So your assignment for this module is going to be a presentation. Okay, right. So last time we actually discussed uh, curriculum theories. We discussed 4 curriculum theories. Can you remember? Can you remember the 4 curriculum theories we discussed? Yes or no? Are you connected? Am I audible? Whatever. I don't have to, when you don't respond, it's very difficult. I don't know whether you all hear me or whatever, as it's very bad weather. Sometimes it may be disconnected till I feel. Can you respond, please? Hello. Hello.
We can hear you, madam.
Right, okay. Please respond. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Kaushala, thank you for responding. Last time I did curriculum theories. Can you remember what are the 4 curriculum theories I discussed? That's the question, a simple question. Hmm? What are the 4 curriculum theories I discussed with you last time? Can't remember? That is very funny, no man.
Madam, essentialism,
Yeah.
encyclopedium,
Uh-huh.
uh, pol-
Encyclopedism. Yeah.
uh, polytechnical,
Very good.
and pragmatics.
Pragmatism. So we discuss what are their kind of curriculum like and what they actually, the purpose of that curriculum and all that we discussed. So after we started curriculum design development models. Did we finish that discussion?
Yes, madam.
Uh-huh.
Noted, madam.
Not yet, but we started with Taba. Am I right? Taba or Tyler? Tyler's model.
Tabas model.
Taba's model. So we can actually do a small recap on Taba and Tyler, and then we can actually discuss some other curriculum model as well. And then I will talk to you about curriculum implementation. We design curriculums, but we have to actually make sure that it's properly implemented. So curriculum developers' duty is to actually see to that curriculum implementation process as well. So we are going to discuss these areas today. And next week, if we have the lecture, it's only a revision. And then the other 2 days, if the campus is okay, we can actually make it uh, assignment, PowerPoint presentation. So for this module, we can make it PowerPoint as we have 2 days remaining, right? 2 more days remaining. So for that, let me open my lecture note on Taba and Tyler's models. Okay. You need to give me a second, dear. Baba? Second. Okay. Okay, now, sorry about it. Are you there? Yes. Sorry about it. It's something that I actually had to attend to. Um, now here, due to bad weather, lots of things, right? Okay. Curriculum design models. That is what we discussed as the second half of our lecture last time. Curriculum design models. So we started with Tyler and then we looked at Taba. Then today I'm going to actually introduce Wheeler's curriculum design model as well. So these are the three curriculum design models that I'm going to discuss. So curriculum theories are philosophical thoughts, right? I told you last time they are philosophical thoughts. They are thinking, they are theories. But these are models. When you actually want to develop a curriculum, you can actually use this model. Like, now you want to actually model is something like that. Now you want to get uh, a shirt done, right? You're not very good in your stitching. So you can get a block done. Now for sari jackets, I always tell you, right? For a sari jacket, you're not very good in sewing, but your mom is really good. So you get the mom to do a block and you keep the block on the cloth and cut the cloth and you can stitch it. Something like that a model does, right? When you have a model, so this model, you can actually take it as the framework for the development of the curriculum. Uh, now, curriculum theories, they are just philosophical thoughts, assumptions. They are beliefs. They think a curriculum should cater to the workforce, right? Producing people for the workforce. Curriculum uh, 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 should give subjects that is they are needed for their everyday survival. Like that, they are ideas, beliefs, thoughts, but models are actually frameworks. You can use the framework and then develop the curriculum. Uh, is it clear to you, dear?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So then there are several curriculum design models, but I will explain to you. I will get you through three curriculum development models, design models: Tyler, Taba, and Wheeler. So last time we discussed Tyler, the simplest model, right? It is an objective model. I will give you a small recap. It's an objective model. Uh, it is the widely used model as well, uh, developed by American educator Ralph W. Tyler. That is why you call it the Tyler's model. And this model emphasizes the setting of clear objectives that guide the entire educational process. So the Tyler's model, if you use that Tyler's model to develop your curriculum, now you might not as teachers straight away get into curriculum development, right? You will need to be experienced for that. But at the same time, now in your school, you might be asked to develop a small curriculum for some subject that you teach, for a workshop, for a holiday program, and all that. So when you develop the curriculum, you can actually use a model which is appropriate. To choose a model from the existing ones, you should know what they are all about. Okay. And so according to Tyler's, this objective model, the most traditional and the widely used model, due to its simplicity, uh, it emphasizes setting clear objectives, learning objectives as the first venture of curriculum designing. Okay, you have to start with setting ILOs, learning objectives. Okay, and then that will guide the entire educational process. That means the content to be taught, methodologies to be used, and the evaluation, how it's to be done, etc. Okay, so that is very important when it comes to Tyler. So now you can have pen and paper and then write Tyler, widely used, most traditional, simple, um, proposed by Ralph W. Tyler. They are the keywords, okay? And starting with clearly set learning objectives which guide the entire education process, okay? So then key components of Tyler's model. This is a recap of last week. Key components of Tyler's model. So I have given you 4 key components, right? What are the purpose or the objectives of education? What learning experiences are needed to achieve these objectives? How should educational experiences be organized? How will learning experiences be assessed? Right? That is the kind of concerns in developing a curriculum according to Tyler's model. So starting with objectives, right? What are the purposes or objectives of education? Starting with that. So if you are developing a curriculum, you have to decide what is the purpose of this curriculum? What are the ILOs or objectives to be developed? What will the students be able to do at the end of the program, right? This refers to clearly defining what students should learn by the end of the course of the program. These objectives are often focused on cognitive skills like understanding, analyzing, applying knowledge. Okay, that is what we know, clearly set ILOs. That is how it starts with. Then what learning experiences are needed to achieve these objectives? So educators has to decide what kind of activities, lessons, teaching methods are necessary to help students reach the defined learning goals, right? Activities, lessons, and teaching methods. Accordingly, that what you have set as the ILOs. I can give you an example. When I was working, Cynic campus sometimes back, right? It's sometimes back, definitely. We were asked by the engineering faculty, we were asked to develop an English program for the engineering students, right? Develop an English program for the engineering students. So then we first decided the ILOs. Because the students, they have to do a lot of report writing. They have to do a lot of presentations, okay? So because of that, we actually decided are the 2 main ILOs. They are to develop their ability to do presentations, develop their ability to write reports, develop their ability to do research, okay? Research writing, academic writing. So first we said ILOs. Then we thought, now they have to do presentations. Then methodology doesn't have to be writing because they have to speak, they have to present. So they have to develop that ability. So we decided the methodology should be getting them to do presentations, getting them to do speeches like that. So that is how that you can align the teaching activities, methodologies with the ILOs, okay? And then they have to do report writing. So another methodology that I use is getting them to do report writing, right? Report writing, so written work, that is also a methodology, right? The type of activities that we get them to do. Then the third point, how should educational experiences be organized? The learning experiences are organized logically so that students build upon their knowledge progressively. So what should be presented first? What should be presented afterwards? What should be recycled or repeated, right? How much of this experience to be given? Now, in that example I gave, if it is getting them to do PowerPoint presentations, how much of PowerPoint presentations? How much of writing reports? Like that, you have to actually organize the educational experiences to be presented. Then fourth one, then you have to know evaluation, right? How we are going to assess whether the students have achieved the desired outcomes. How are we going to assess whether the students have achieved the ILOs? Now, At the end of the program, students will be able to make formal PowerPoint presentations, right? So then we have to actually assess whether they have achieved it. So how are we going to assess them? Is it through formative assessment? I have spoken to you about formative assessment. Is it through summative assessment? I have spoken to you about summative assessment, like that. So you have to actually decide how we are going to assess whether they have achieved the ILOs. So this is very simple model, a linear model, one after the other. These things happen, and it starts with ILOs. That is very important. Now here, pros and cons, right, of this Tyler's model. This is a recap only. Are you listening? Are you listening, madams?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, okay. Right. So, pros of Tyler's model. Clear and focused goals, because it starts with ILOs. So, you know, you are developing this curriculum for the purpose of getting the students to learn these at the end of the program. So, it's clearly stated goals are there. Because of that, it is development of the rest of the curriculum is very easy. Measurable outcomes are there. Definitely, when you start with ILOs, you know objectives, how to write objectives, they are measurable and action oriented. So when you start with ILOs, the curriculum development, definitely it is measured, there will be measurable outcomes. It's another advantage. Align with educational standards. This model ensures that the curriculum aligns with broader educational standards, institutional goals, and stakeholder expectations. That is also possible because they first set ILOs, right? So alignment with educational standards and student-centered. The emphasis is on learning outcomes. So what the students will be able to do at the end of the program. What the students will be able to do at the end of the program, that is first decided. So because of that, it is said to be student-centered. You think in terms of the students' development, okay? What they will be able to do at the end of the program. So it is said to be student-centered. Now, what are the disadvantages and limitations of this Tyler's model? Rigidity. Rigidity, no flexibility. You have to start with ILOs, right? So it's very rigid, leaving little room for flexibility and adaptation based on students' changing needs and interest. Because ILOs are first set and the rest of the curriculum is based on the ILOs. So you can't actually change it to make it suitable to the needs and interest of the students. There's no flexibility. It is a very rigid curriculum. Okay. Narrow focus. It mainly targets cognitive learning goals. It mainly targets cognitive learning goals, which might overlook other aspects of education, such as emotional and social development. So you know what cognitive is, knowledge related. Okay. Normally, the Tyler's model of Tyler's curriculum model is used when you are highly knowledge focused, right? Exam oriented, knowledge focused. So other areas like social, emotional development is neglected in this curriculum design. Overemphasis on assessment. Overemphasis on assessment. This model focuses heavily on measurable outcomes like tests, which may neglect the importance of informal and ongoing assessment. So that is a very feature of Tyler. Tyler's model focuses on summative assessments, written assessments. Once the program is completed, the evaluations are done for the grading purpose and to see whether how much is learned. So it is because of the rigidity of the curriculum only that there's no room for formative assessment. You know what formative assessment is. Then limited scope. Tyler's objectives may not capture the full complexity of real life learning, especially in dynamic multicultural class. So there is lack of flexibility once again, because lack of flexibility, it is actually very limited scope. What is said, it is done. No flexibility, then no way actually that you can widen the scope. That is it. Now, I have given you an example. Can I get one of you to read the example I have given here for the Tyler's model of curriculum design? Can I get one of it? Yes,
A
please.
high school math curriculum might use Tyler's model by defining objectives such as students will be able to solve quadratic equations
Mm,
and organizing lessons that progressively teach concepts like
mm,
factoring, using the quadratic formula, and graphing.
mm.
Assessments would focus on whether students can achieve these objectives.
Yes, sorry about it. Okay. Right. Good. Thank you for reading it. Okay. Now, a high school math curriculum, Tyler's model, objectives such as students will be able to do this, and assessment focus on whether students can achieve these objectives. Now, list flexibility, that is the main limitation. So these things are entailments of this rigidity of this curriculum design. So we'll go to TABA. Actually, we discussed TABA as well. If you can remember what is the main significant or extraordinary element of TABA's model of curriculum development, I want you to come up with that. We discuss it and it's the extraordinary part of it. Very exclusive part of curriculum design by TABA. What is it? Can you remember? If you can remember that, I would be very happy. Otherwise, you are not actually uh, referring to the paper after the class. That's what I see. Can you just tell me?
The teacher involves in the process of
Very
creating curriculum.
good. Asana. Very good. You Asana, right?
Yes, madam.
Very good. Very well done. That is the truth. The teacher's involvement in curriculum design. Right? Teacher at the, that is why we call it the bottom-up model, right? Bottom-up. Teacher at the bottom, teacher at the delivery point. Okay, teacher at the bottom, teacher at the delivery point. But teacher's involvement in curriculum design is actually focused in TABA's model of curriculum development. So very good, girl, that you remember this. Okay, so that is the highlight about TABA's model. Okay, that is true in a way, right? Because now all these a curriculum development panel, the management people, they get together and they develop a curriculum. But teachers only at the delivery point have that direct connections with the students. They only understand the students' interests, students' needs, and students' mindset, right? How they learn and all that. So because of that, TABA emphasizes on the fact that curriculum development should start from the teacher's involvement. So because of that, it is actually termed as bottom-up model of curriculum design. Okay, very good. I'm very happy that you remembered. Okay. So if you take Hilda TABA model, a more participatory approach to curriculum development. More participatory approach. Why do we call it more participatory? The teachers, right? Those who actually directly in contact with the students, those who are aware of the students' needs, interests, learning styles, etc. They actually actively participate in the curriculum development. Okay, so they are actually considered as resource persons in the curriculum development. So because of that, it is said to be participatory. Otherwise, it's only the big people, curriculum developers, not well, right? Okay. I'm also not well because the bad weather, right? Right. Okay. Right. So then key components of Taba's model. අපි බැලුවා key components of Tyler's model. Now we are looking at key components of Taba's model. This time we see 7 key components of Taba's model. Right? 7 key components of Taba's model. What are these key components of Taba's model then? It starts with, right? It starts with diagnosis of learner needs. It starts with diagnosis of learner needs. If you take Tyler, starts with setting intended learning outcomes, what the students will be able to do at the end of the program, decided by curriculum developers. Curriculum developers. Here you can see you have to start curriculum development by diagnosing the learner needs. That is the first step of curriculum development. So this is starting point of curriculum development process. Teachers assess students' current knowledge, interest, and needs. Teacher assess students' current knowledge, interest, and needs. This might involve surveys, interviews, observations of students' learning behaviors. So the teachers are well equipped. Teachers know it, right? What the students want, what their interests are, what they already know and what they don't know. It's the teacher estimation, right? Because teacher involves in the curriculum development. So teachers assess students' current knowledge, interests, and needs. So they are actually actively involved in curriculum development. So from there only that curriculum development starts. You have to think of the students' needs, interests, and what they want to actually learn and how they want to learn. That is where the curriculum development begins in Taba, right? Hilda Taba. Then based on the needs and interest, the need analysis is done. You call it the need analysis. Once based on the need analysis, the formation of the ILOs or the objectives, right? Not that you are starting with ILOs that the curriculum development board will decide. No, you have to think of learner needs, interest, need analysis should be done through interviews, questionnaires, observations, and based on the need analysis, you have to go to the second step, that is formulation of objectives or the ILOs to be realized through the program. So what the students will be able to do at the end of the program, right? Okay. Then comes the third step. Third step is selection of content. Third step is selection of content. Now, once the ILOs are set, for the realization of the intended learning outcomes or the objectives, that you need content or the subject matter, right? Then the third step is selection of the content. Teachers select the essential content that aligns with the objectives, right? It has to be aligned with the objectives. Content should be relevant, meaningful, and engaging for students. For example, in a science curriculum, content might include topics like ecosystem or energy cycles. It is based on the ILOs. ILOs are based on the students' needs. Okay, that is what. Then the fourth step is, this is a very detailed, comprehensive model, right? Organization of content, right? Once the content is selected, you have to organize the content as well. And now when we discuss the four components of the curriculum, and then when we discuss content as one of the components of curriculum, we discuss content selection criteria, content organization criteria. So Hilda Taba actually focuses not only on content selection, but also on content organization. It's very, very important. Once content is selected, it's organized in a logical order. The sequence ensures that students build on prior knowledge and understand how different concepts are related. So you have to now recall your knowledge about content organization, right? අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත how what are the interests, right? Recycle කරනවා. ඒ වගේ we learn what are the content organization criteria කියලා. So based on that, the fourth step is content organization. Then, after organizing the content in the curriculum, what is to present first, what is to present afterwards, what is to be recycled, repeated, and all that, the fifth step is to select the learning experience or the teaching methods. Select the learning experience or the teaching method. So in this stage, teachers choose appropriate teaching methods and activities. These can include lectures, group work, hands-on experiments, discussions, presentations, dramas, simulations, etc. Anyway, based after selecting and organizing content, the fifth step is deciding on the learning experiences or the methodology to be kind of used. Then the number 6, the sixth step, organization of learning activities. Not only selection of learning experiences, then you have to organize the learning activities as well. Learning experiences are structured in a way that creates a meaningful learning journey for students. Activities are paced and grouped in ways that ensure gradual mastery of the content. Maybe first impromptu speech, then first prepared speech, then impromptu speech, then humorous speeches, then debates, and then panel discussions. So, you know, you're not first starting with debates, but you have to start with simple prepared speeches, and then you go to impromptu. Like that, learning experiences, that is the methodology also, should be organized maybe from simple to complex. Like that, you need to think of organizational elements and then organize. That is also equally important in a curriculum, right? Then finally, the evaluation, how you're going to assess whether the students have achieved the outcomes. It can be ongoing, formative, it can be summative as well. Teachers assess the effectiveness of the curriculum and instruction. Ongoing feedback is used to adjust the curriculum, teaching methods, and the activities needed. So here, not like Tyler's model. Tyler's model is traditional. In the Taba's model, not only summative assessment, right? Formative assessments are also used because they are more flexible. So they can actually, based on the feedback, when the formative assessments are done, you get feedback whether the students have learned or not. So based on the feedback that you get through formative assessments, there is actually flexibility that you can actually change teaching methods, activities, etc. That is the beautiful part of Taba's model of curriculum development. Okay. Now we can look at pros and cons. I will get one of you to read the 4 points given under pros of Taba's model. Then I have give you the summary. Who will read it for me? Madams. Madams.
Comprehensive.
Right, okay.
It covers all necessary aspects of curriculum development from initial assessment to continuous evaluation, ensuring a well-rounded approach. Teacher involvement. Teachers have a major role in designing the curriculum, ensuring it is relevant and suited to their students' needs. Flexibility. The model is adaptable, allowing for adjustments based on feedback and evolving student needs. Continuous improvement emphasizes an ongoing process of revision where the curriculum is continuously refined based on evaluation and feedback.
Very good. Thank you for reading. So it is about comprehensive because you can see 7 steps, right? Not only content selection, but content organization. Not only selection of the methodologies or learning experiences, but organizing them. So it's very comprehensive model. And you can see it's the bottom-up model, teachers involvement in curriculum designing. So flexibility because it's highly student-centered. You consider the student's needs, so you start with need analysis. Because of that, that is the focus, catering to the student's needs. Because of that, there is flexibility. As in evaluation, it's not only summative, even formative assessments are actually very important in this model. Why? Then you get feedback about the student's progress, and accordingly that you can actually adjust the curriculum and refine the curriculum. So these are advantages. What are the limitations? Shall we have a look at that, and can you read it? There are 3 points I've given under limitations.
Time consuming. The detailed step-by-step process can take a significant amount of time and resources to implement fully. Complexity. The multiple stages and detailed planning can be overwhelming, especially for educators with limited experience in curriculum design.
Yeah.
Resource intensive. The model requires significant time, personnel, and materials to be implemented successfully, which might not always be feasible in resource limited settings.
Yeah. Thank you, Azana. That is true because this is very comprehensive. So because of that, you have to start with need analysis and all that. So this is not actually easily very limited time frame that you can't do this. You need to, it is, you need a lot of time for a development of a curriculum using this model. And its complexity is another limitation because you have to think of needs of the students, then you have to think of the ILOs, then you have to select the content, organize the content. It's very complex and comprehensive. Because of that, sometimes this curriculum development is a very complex venture using this model. And resource intensity because as it is very comprehensive, several steps need analysis, then based on the feedback, formative assessments and feedback, you need to revise. So then because of that, it consumes a lot of resources. With the limited resources, this model cannot be adapted in curriculum development. Okay, right. A middle school English curriculum following Taba's model might start by diagnosing students' reading levels and interest. And based on these, objectives would be set. The teacher would then select content, organize activities like reading assignments, group discussions, writing exercises, continuous evaluation, because formative assessment are also there, right? And when you get the feedback, then accordingly that you're going to actually change the curriculum and implement it. So this is actually very time consuming, resource consuming, not easy to adapt. Those are limitations. But here now we have a kind of comparison between Tyler and Taba model. If you look at university papers, curriculum designing, syllabus designing and all that, this is a very common question. They ask you to actually compare Tyler's model and Taba's model. Okay, how they differ from each other, Kela. So here, this is a summary of that. If you take the approach, right, Tyler's model take a linear approach, linear and systematic. Systematic predefined objectives, no? Very systematic. There's no kind of ongoing objectives development. So it's a linear process. Linear means one after the other, no cyclic way. And Tyler's model is a linear systematic model. But if you take Taba, It is inductive participatory based on needs. Inductive and participatory. So then, there is the possibility of getting back. Now, once you actually implement the curriculum, you give formative assessments to your students, you see that they are not progressing, then you can get back to the needs and actually change them. And then accordingly, select the content, and all these flexibilities are there. So it's inductive. And as teacher participates, it's participatory. If you take the development process, who develops the curriculum? If you take Tyler model, it is top down. That means administrators, specialists, curriculum designers, policy makers, they only actually decide what the curriculum should be like. But if you take Taba's model, it is a bottom-up one. It starts with the teachers. Teacher involvement is very important because they only know the students, how they learn, what they want to learn, what their interests are, and all that. So it is starting from the teacher, only the curriculum is developed. Then the criteria flexibility. It is said that Tyler's model is very rigid, one after the other, set sequence, no formative assessments, but summative assessments to see whether they have achieved. No go, you don't have to go back and forth there. But if you take Taba's model, it is flexible, adjusts based on feedback. Formative assessments are done. If the feedback is not good, so then you can adjust. So it's a flexible one, okay? If you take Tyler's model, the focus. Tyler's model, if you use Tyler's model and develop a curriculum, that curriculum actually focuses more on cognitive skills. Cognitive skills means knowledge related, right? But Taba, she's a teacher. So because of that, Taba's model proposes that the curriculum should be a holistic curriculum, considering not only cognitive, but social, emotional aspects as well. Okay. And orientation. Tyler's model is teacher-centered. Teacher plans and student follow. And Taba's model is student-centered. Student needs and experiences guide curriculum. So this is how that you can actually compare and contrast Tyler and Taba. Tyler's model is ideal for situations where clear, measurable outcomes are necessary, such as in standardized testing environments. Okay. But Taba's model is more flexible and emphasizes the involvement of teachers and students, making it well suited for dynamic, student-centered learning environments. Both the models have their own strengths, weaknesses, right? That is it. Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So we'll get back to Wheeler's model of curriculum development. Okay. Now we are looking at Wheeler's model of curriculum development. It's another curriculum development model. Right. We'll look at Wheeler's model of curriculum development. Let me share. It's not shared, right?
Yeah.
You can see. No, no. Right. This is what Wheeler's model of curriculum development. If you take Wheeler's model of curriculum development, it is a cyclic model. Now, Tyler is linear, one after the other. But if you take Wheeler's model, it's a cyclic model. In that cyclic model, Wheeler emphasizes that continuous and interactive nature of the curriculum development process. continuous, and interactive nature of the curriculum development process. This model developed by D.K. Wheeler focuses on the dynamic and ongoing evaluation and revision of the curriculum. Similar to TABA, right? Wheeler also says dynamic, changing. How we change it? We have ongoing evaluation, and when we have ongoing evaluation, formative evaluation, we get feedback. Based on feedback, we actually make revision to the curriculum. So it's a dynamic curriculum, right? So we will have an overview of Wheeler's components and stages. Okay, Wheeler's model comprises 5 stages that form a continuous cycle. 5 stages that form a continuous cycle. So, what are those 5 stages? I will show you a kind of a image, okay? Then it will be clear. Right. So this is from the internet I took, okay? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Identification of aims, goals, and objectives. That is the first thing, but it's cyclic, right? You don't have to start with that, right? Now, you can start with that. It doesn't mean that you can't get back there. You can definitely get back there. It goes back and forth, right? So it starts with identification of aims, goals, and objectives, then selection of learning experiences. That is actually methodology, then selection of the content, and then organization and integration of learning experiences and content, and evaluation. So, but the speciality about this is, what is exclusive about this Wheeler's model of curriculum development is, it is cyclic. It is cyclic, okay? So, starting with identification of aims and goals and objectives, then selecting the learning experience, not the content, but the methodology first. If you look at TABA, it is content selection, content organization, then selection of the learning experience and selection of the learning experiences. But here, identification of objectives and then selection of learning experience, methodology. Then after that, only the content, and then content and methodology, they are integrated and organized. Methodology and content, they are integrated and organized. Why do we say integrated and organized? Because the content and according to the content, what is the methodology used to teach? That is to be aligned, right? Because of that, organization and integration of learning experiences and content is the fourth, and then evaluation. So give me a second. Okay, I'm here. Are you there? Are you there?
Yes, madam.
All right. Sorry for the little things happening today. So now I will show you my lecture note once again. So you saw the 5 steps of Wheeler's curriculum development model. Okay. So once again, I share my note, and then you can see as we looked at aims and goals and objectives. That is the first step. Setting aims, broad general statements of educational intent. Defining goals, more specific than aims. Outlining desires, outcomes. Okay, formulating objectives. I told you, first it's the goals and then aims and then objectives and then competencies, like that. You know the flow, right? We discuss it in curriculum uh, development, the 4 components. So that is actually further explained by Wheeler. Give me a second. I'm sorry about it today. Give me a second. Okay, now I'm here. You're there, right? Okay. So that is actually, he explains this, not only just formulating objectives, but aims, goals, and specific objectives incorporated into the curriculum. Okay. Then the second step is identifying appropriate activities and experiences that align with the aims, goals, and objectives. That is not the content. First, you have to decide on the learning experiences. That is the methodology, right? That is the methodology. So identifying appropriate activities, experiences that align with the aims, goals, and objectives. So ensuring that selected experiences are relevant, engaging, and supportive of the learning outcomes. Then the third step is selection of content. Third step is selection of content. That letter you got? Got the letter? Right. Then the third step is selection of content. Choosing subject matter that supports the learning experiences and the objectives. Okay. Organizing content in a logical, coherent manner and facilitate understanding and retention. Then you have selected first the first the ILOs, then the learning experiences or methodology, then the content. Now you have to actually integrate and organize content and learning experiences methodology. Now for some subjects, for some topics, this some methodologies will not work. And with some topics, they can actually use some different type of methodologies and all that. So you have to do a plotting of the content and the methodology, and they should be integrated and organized after plotting the content and the learning experience. Then finally, the evaluation, that is assessing whether the students have achieved the goals and objectives of the curriculum, various assessment tools and methods to gather feedback on student learning and curriculum impact. So that flexibility is there. Continuously revising and improving the curriculum based on evaluation data. So as Taba, Wheeler also actually promoted revision of the curriculum, updating the curriculum in his model of curriculum development. Okay. Yeah. Then we will look at, as we have done it with the other two, we will look at the pros and cons. Okay. We will look at the pros and cons. Right. What are the pros? What are the cons? Right. Advantages, it is cyclic in nature. By nature, it is cyclic. So emphasizes continuous evaluation and improvement, ensuring this curriculum remains relevant and effective over time. So it's not static, because there is actually continuous evaluation and improvement and adjustments done. So curriculum is never static, it is updated. As it's cyclic in nature, it is an updated curriculum. So that is one main advantage of Wheeler's curriculum development model. Then it is dynamic and flexible. So dynamic and changing, no? Allows ongoing adjustments, refinements based on the feedback through formative assessments. So that is, though the same thing, right? It is cyclic in nature. So because of that, it's dynamic and flexible. And it's an integrated approach. It's an integrated approach. Why do we call it an integrated approach? Promotes seamless integration of content and learning experiences, because content and learning experiences are organized, integrated, plotted against each other to bring about coherence and consistency in the curriculum. Coherence, connectedness. So it's another advantage, right? Learning experiences and content are not too distinct. They are actually integrated and plotted against each other. So it's more coherent curriculum. Focus on objectives. There are clear measurable objectives because it starts with objectives, right? And then if you take the limitations, very complex. Why do we call it very complex? Because it's ongoing, cyclical. So always changing. Because of that, the very changing nature brings about comprehensive complexity to the model. Resource intensive, as you know, when it is a very comprehensive model, as we discussed in TABA, you can say it is resource intensive, right? That is why Tyler's model is widely used, because it is actually with limited resource, with limited time, that you can actually develop a curriculum. Though these TABA and Wheeler's models are very student-centered, highly flexible models, they are time consuming, they actually need lots of resources, very comprehensive in nature. Those are limitations, okay? And implementation challenges are there. This model is dynamic and flexible, so challenges the implementing rigid and traditional education system, right? Ongoing changes and all that is, we have a very rigid, very traditional, typical system of education. In those typical systems of education where students' progress is assessed only through written exams, right? Students' progress is assessed through written exams. So then this flexibility, formative assessments and all that is not actually very feasible, right? So implementation challenges are there. So we are highly exam oriented, we go on teaching and then give them a written exam and then give them a grading. So these models actually believe in formative assessments, getting feedback, then revising the curriculum and then do the teaching and all that. They are actually difficult to implement in traditional mindsets. That is it, in traditional setups. So that is actually the Wheeler's curriculum. Now it's your duty now. Think of 3 columns, the 2 columns done. Now you can add another column to what I discussed, the Wheeler, right? And then you can actually complete that column. and get to know the 3 models of curriculum design that we discussed, Tyler, Taba, and Wheeler. And don't think that we have only Tyler, Taba, and Wheeler. There are others as well, though we have not discussed them. This is enough for you. Got it or you didn't get that? Madams?
It's
Got
good,
it?
ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Now the problem is, I have another topic, curriculum implementation, but I have not developed a note there, right? So because of that, you can take down your note. Are you ready?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, definitely with pen and paper, take down your own notes. If you're not here today, you can listen to the recording because the recording is there, then you can make your own note. I'm not going to provide you with a note there. So the topic is, the last topic actually speaking, curriculum implementation. Curriculum implementation. That is the last topic, curriculum implementation. What do you think about this topic? What is meant by curriculum implementation? Hmm? What is meant by curriculum implementation? What is it?
Using it, madam.
Yeah, definitely yes. Now the curriculum developers, they develop a curriculum. But just because that the curriculum is developed, it doesn't mean that the curriculum is implemented. So curriculum should be actually disseminated and the curriculum should be implemented. Curriculum plan, it should be actually given to the others, and then the schools, the educational institutes, teachers, administrators, principals, they have a responsibility to implement the curriculum. But I want to tell you, it's not only the teachers and the administrators and the principals, right? Even parents, students, they are stakeholders of curriculum implementation. And not only that, curriculum developers also have a role to play in curriculum implementation. So that is what we are going to discuss now under curriculum implementation. So now, uh, right, right. So a curriculum implementation is the topic. Now you're a teacher, you are in the classroom. Now there can be curriculums, but you're the one who is implementing it, right? So it's important you know what is involved in implementing the prescribed curriculum. That is very important for you as the teacher because curriculum is there, it's documented, it's sent to you in black and white. But at the end of the day, you as the teacher, the practitioner, educational practitioner, teacher at the delivery point, you're the one implementing it. So you should know what is involved in the implementation of the prescribed curriculum, written curriculum, right? Explicit curriculum. So then we are going to look at what are the processes and stages involved in curriculum implementation because you are the one who is implementing the curriculum. So you should know it. Okay. Then we will actually look at a definition of curriculum implementation. The topic is curriculum implementation. As in the introduction, I told you, you are the one who is implementing it, the teacher, right? So we will have a small definition for curriculum implementation. Definition means what is meant by curriculum implementation, correct? So what is your idea about curriculum implementation? How can you explain it? How can you define? Actually speaking, curriculum implementation means putting the explicit curriculum, the prescribed curriculum into practice, right? There is black and white prescribed curriculum, a written curriculum, and the teacher putting it into practice. That is actually curriculum implementation in simple terms. So this involves, right? This involves the learner is helped in acquiring knowledge and experience prescribed in the curriculum. The teacher in putting this written curriculum into practice, right? The teacher gets the learner to acquire knowledge and competence and experiences prescribed in the curriculum. That is your role, right? There is the prescribed curriculum. It is black and white written curriculum, explicit curriculum, and you are implementing it, means you are putting it into practice. That means you get the learner to achieve the knowledge, skills, and attitudes and competencies prescribed in the curriculum, right? That is what you are doing in implementing it. So who is the central figure here? Actually speaking, in the curriculum implementation process, the central figure is the learner. Why do we say in the curriculum implementation process, the central figure is the learner? Because we look at, now, if not the implementation takes place as the learner acquires the planned and intended experience, knowledge, and attitudes, etc. If the learner does not acquire it, if the learner doesn't acquire the knowledge, skills, and competencies, right? If the objectives are not realized because the learner has not acquired it, then curriculum is not properly implemented. Do you get my point?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, that is because of that. In curriculum implementation, learner is the center. You are the kind of implementer, and then you have a curriculum. It is in black and white, it's written, it's explicit, and you are supposed to actually put it into practice. What is meant by putting into practice means you get the learner to develop the skills, attitudes, knowledge prescribed in the curriculum. So if the learner does not acquire these skills, knowledge, attitudes prescribed in the curriculum, curriculum is not properly implemented. So because of that, it is said that the learner is the center in curriculum implementation. Okay, it's not the teacher. We all have that misconception. We all think that the teacher is the one who is implementing, right? So teacher is the most important. No, it's the learner. If the learner doesn't acquire it, the skills, knowledge, competencies, ILOs are not realized, then curriculum is not properly implemented. That is what they say. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So curriculum implementation refers to the act of
Excuse
work.
me, madam.
Yeah.
You are not sharing the PPT, madam.
Yeah, I don't have anything to share. I have not developed a PowerPoint or note. I'm just reading it to you. I'm just explaining it to you. Actually speaking, you are supposed to make notes on curriculum implementation. Okay?
Okay, madam.
Yeah, I told you at the outset. You can listen to the recording if you miss something once again. Because I have not prepared any document today, right? I wanted to prepare a document, but it was thundering. I couldn't open my computer, and then it was too late. Then I had to start the lecture. So I'm explaining, you can make notes, right? So center is the learner, right? Teacher is the implementer, okay? And the curriculum, the written curriculum is put into practice and get the learner to achieve those competencies, then curriculum is implemented. So this is actually the act of working out the plans and suggestions that have been made by the curriculum specialist and subject experts in a classroom or school setting. So curriculum experts, they have a plan. That is the curriculum, right? They have suggestions. They are the ILOs, right? The 4 components. And you are actually working it out. You're working it out with your students. So the teachers, you can say main curriculum implementers. Teachers, main curriculum implementers. But at the same time, remember, students, parents, school administrators, they can be directly or indirectly involved in the implementation of the process. I will give you how. Now, if the student doesn't learn, right, what they're supposed to learn as prescribed in the curriculum, right, then curriculum is not implemented. So you can see students are very important stakeholders or the center in curriculum implementation. But I told you, even the parents, right, administrators, they also are directly or indirectly involved in the curriculum implementation process. How come? Now, if you take school administration, right, they are directly or indirectly involved, maybe directly involved. Now, for the implementation of the curriculum, you need language labs, you need mathematics lab, you need resources. If the school administration does not provide you with the resources, curriculum cannot be properly implemented because methodology, learning experience is prescribed. And another one, now you need in-service training for the implementation of the curriculum. You need in-service training because it's a kind of an updated curriculum. It has some AI tools, the use of AI tools and all that. So then you need to be, the teachers need to be trained. They should be provided proper training in understanding, interpreting, and implementing the curriculum. If the administrators don't do that, curriculum will not be properly implemented. So because of that, school administration also has a direct influence or involvement in curriculum implementation. Is it clear? Is it clear? Are you there? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Clearද? මං කිව්ව දේ තේරුණාද?
Yes, ma'am.
Then කොහොමද එහෙනම් දැන් parents ලා කොහොමද මේකට involve වෙන්නේ? Can you tell me something about it? Now, students are the center and teacher is the main implementer and administration also directly involved. Why? They have to give you necessary facilities, resources, training, etc. Right? And then how come these parents be a kind of part of curriculum implementation? Can you think? I give you an example from Sri Lankan context. Now, sometimes back, we had a subject called sex education for grade 8. Sex education for grade 8. That was there in the curriculum. But the parents and the religious leaders, they got together, they had hartal, and they did not want this subject to be taught. So curriculum could not be implemented. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So because of that, parents and other stakeholders also have direct or indirect involvement in curriculum implementation. Right? Direct or indirect involvement in curriculum implementation. If so, what is important there? You call it sensitization. Take down the word sensitive කියන එකෙන් එන්නේ. Sensitization. Right? Sensitization means you have to make the stakeholders, parents, administrators, students, teachers, all are stakeholders. You have to sensitize them about the curriculum if proper implementation is needed. You have to sensitize them. They have to be made aware of it. You have to make them aware of the curriculum. Why this curriculum is developed like this? What are the purposes of curriculum? And all these things should be made aware, or you have to explain it to the stakeholders. As I told you, if the parents were made aware of this purpose of sex education, the curriculum could have been implemented. As sensitization did not happen, parents and some other stakeholders got together and made a hartal, protest. It was not implemented properly, right? It was not implemented properly. So sensitization is a very important step by the curriculum developers for the proper implementation of the curriculum. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, අපි කිව්වා teacher is the main implementer of the curriculum. Teacher is the main implementer of the curriculum. At the same time, teacher is identified as the agent in the curriculum implementation process. Teacher is termed as the agent in the curriculum implementation process. Main implementer, the agent in the curriculum implementation process. Because why do we say that teacher is the agent of curriculum implementation? Right? Teacher is the agent of curriculum implementation. Why do we say that? Now, it is the teacher who has the freedom to select whether all the activities to be done, whether all the content to be covered, if time doesn't permit, what part to be omitted and removed, what areas, what units, what topics to be combined. All these are actually teacher's role, depending on the size of the class, depending on the level of the student, depending on the difficulty level of the topic, depending on the resources available, depending on the time factor. The black and white curriculum, the written curriculum, as it is, cannot be implemented. It's a myth. So the teacher, the main agent of the curriculum, has the liberty, has the freedom to do little changes in implementing it. Otherwise, now, Colombo Royal and some rural school, computer facilities not the same, right? So then it cannot be implemented at the same level. Their language ability is not the same. So it will not be implemented at the same level. So the teacher has some kind of authority there. The teacher, though not deviating 100% from the curriculum, the teacher decides how much, to what extent, and what is to be integrated and all that. So that freedom is given to the teacher. Teacher becomes the agent in the curriculum implementation process. If you are an agent, you have some powers, am I right? Given to you. Do you get that? If you are the agent, you have some powers entrusted to you. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So that is there. So the teacher is the agent in curriculum implementation process, because as it is, to the point, to the word, it is not implemented. It is not something possible, right? Large classes, level of the student, time factors, everything comes in the way. Level of students. So depending on that, the teacher has that kind of freedom. Teacher has to do like that. So teacher becomes the agent of curriculum implementation. Okay,
Dhoni,
Okay.
Sudha,
Okay, madam.
yeah. Then factors that influence curriculum implementation. My next subtopic. Factors that influence curriculum implementation. Next topic, under the same curriculum implementation, right? The teacher. Teacher is one of the main influence in curriculum implementation. Teacher is one of the main influence in curriculum implementation. That is why we call the teacher the main implementer, the teacher the agent, right? Teachers weave their role in curriculum implementation as an autonomous one. Autonomous කියලා කියන්නේ freedom එකක් තියෙනවනේ. Independent one කියලා. They select, they decide what to teach from the prescribed syllabus and curriculum. Sometimes they have to bring about changes. Now the topic is given and all cannot be taught. They are very weak. So you simplify, right? It is said that you have to teach it in the lab, but you don't have lab facilities. You get them to go under a tree and teach. So the teacher actually has that kind of autonomy, freedom to select and decide what to teach from the prescribed syllabus and curriculum. As implementation takes place through the interaction of the learner and the planned learning opportunities, the role and influence of the teacher in the process is crucial, indisputable, right? So agent, teacher as the agent, because she is made the agent, so she is autonomous implementer. She has to actually cater to the need of the hour and level, as I told you, and accordingly do the necessary changes and do. So she is the agent. She is a very influential, she plays a big role in curriculum implementation thus, right? Now, at the same time, you can think about this. On the flip side, now the teachers are unable to actually interpret the curriculum, the explicit curriculum properly. What will happen? Once again, the curriculum is not implemented properly. So that is why this module is there for you. You need to interpret the curriculum properly and then implement it effectively, right? Now, if you can now read a curriculum and understand what it is, the components we discuss, the models we discuss, theories we discuss, they are helpful, right? Then you can come to a better interpretation of the curriculum. If the teacher doesn't properly interpret the curriculum, it is not properly implemented as well. So teacher becomes a very important agent of influential individual of curriculum implementation. Okay, that is it. Then we take the learner. As I told you, the learner is the center of curriculum implementation. Learner is the center of curriculum implementation. What is meant by the learner is the center? As I told you, we teach. If the learner doesn't develop the skills, attitudes, knowledge, and mindset given in the curriculum as ILOs, if the ILOs are not realized, then the curriculum is not implemented, actually speaking, right? Though the teacher does the teaching, the students have not learned it, the objectives are not realized, then of course, curriculum not implemented properly. So because of that, the learner is the center. Okay, the learner is the center. The learner hold the key to what is actually transmitted and adapted from the official curriculum. Then because according to the learner performance only that we can see whether what is prescribed in the curriculum is actually given to them and they have taken it care. So learner becomes central, okay? Right. Now, at the same time, now, if you take the learner's home background, learner ability can determine what is actually achieved in the classroom. Their level of understanding, their socio-economic status, their motivation. It also affects the um, proper implementation of the curriculum, right? So the learner is because the learner should be able to learn that curriculum. If the learner has not learned the curriculum, it is not implemented. That is what it said. So learner factors like, socioeconomic status, um, uh, learner motivation, they all affect the implementation of the curriculum, okay? If the learner is not motivated, the curriculum is not properly implemented. Tired? Okay, then. Next, resource materials and facilities. Right? Our topic is, what is the topic I gave you? Can you remember? Factors that influence curriculum implementation. So factors influence curriculum implementation. I said the teacher, the agent, the learner, the center, and then the resource and materials and facilities. I want to tell you now, sometimes back, it's about 10-15 years ago, right? When this English medium education was first introduced to Sri Lankan schools, this curriculum was developed. This problem was there in implementation of this curriculum developed by the experts. Why? Resources were not there. Books were not translated into English. Teachers were not trained to teach in English. There were no teachers to teach science, maths in English. Right? That problem was not solved. They developed the curriculum, but the resources were not made available. Textbooks were not there. Right? Textbooks were not there in English medium. I remember this, some teachers, of course, translated the textbook Singhalavan or Tamilvan by themselves. And the teachers, those who actually could teach the subject matter in English, there was a dearth of teachers, right? So human resource was not there. Facilities. Now, this is once again from English language. During this Mahinda Rajapaksa's time, I can remember they started a project every Friday. Some teachers were sent to India for 3-month training and they were brought down here, and those teachers became master teachers to train the teachers, English teachers island-wide. And then, but still no facilities. Why? Because it's actually speech. It is getting the learner to speak, game-like activities, but no facilities, because Friday is set aside by the government for that activities, no labs, no places for the students to actually, and then one teacher cannot handle 50 students, so low human resources. So lack of facilities also sometimes is a very influential factor in the implementation. If you don't have the resources, materials, and facilities, that cannot be implemented properly. That is, of course, understood. Then the interest groups, අපි කියනවා stakeholders. I told you the stakeholders, the very best example, sometimes back when sex education was introduced to grade 8, parents were very, very, very upset. Our children are very young ones. What are you all teaching? And all that. And at the same time, I can tell you, it is actually resources also. And the teachers were not trained to teach sex education. So most of the teachers were reluctant to discuss those things with the students. And there should be specially trained teachers for the subject. Otherwise, they are not actually confident in going in front of the students, and they are not confident in giving clarifications for the students, the young ones, and all that. So because of that, both the factors actually influence the implementation of the curriculum. Okay. And another one is the school environment. අපි කියන school culture කියලා කියනවා. School environment and school culture. Now, we have our own school cultures and environments, right? We have our own school cultures and environment. Now, if the curriculum says the students should engage in, that is the methodology, that is the learning experience, right? The students should uh, engage in discovery learning. They have to ask questions, they have to work on their own. The teacher is just facilitator. That is the prescribed methodology or the learning experience. But in that particular school culture, going here and there in the classroom in projects, right, doing projects, talking to teacher to get things clarified is regarded as disrespectful because of the culture. It is regarded as disrespectful. Because of that, those type of methodologies, innovative methodologies cannot be implemented. I will give you another one. Now, the curriculum prescribes methodology as blended learning. Methodology is blended learning, right? Okay. Blended learning means, you know what blended learning means? You give them some out of class work to be done using technology, right? And they come to classroom with the basic knowledge to do presentations, drama and all that. Now, if that learning culture, right, the students should not be given IT facilities. Students should not be given a tab. Students should not be given homework to be done using tabs කියලා if the school decides, right? If the school decides, then this curriculum, that is the methodology prescribed in the curriculum, cannot be implemented. So the school culture, school environment also is kind of a influential factor in curriculum implementation. So what I discuss with you is curriculum implementation. So we identified curriculum implementation as very important, and who are the important influential people in curriculum implementation? The teacher, the agent with some autonomy, right? She actually put the curriculum into practice. And the learner, the center. Why the learner the center? Because if they don't learn, curriculum is not properly implemented. And the proper implementation of curriculum depends on the learner, motivation, learners, socioeconomic backgrounds and all that, the learner factor. So the learner is the center. And then the facilities and resources, if they are not available, that you can't actually teach. And then, you know, the stakeholders, if they are not sensitized about the curriculum, there will be some indirect involvement and they will not allow the curriculum to be implemented properly. And then further, the school culture and cultural ideologies, talking to teacher, moving here and there in the classroom, asking a lot of questions is disrespect. I taught in a school long time back, actually speaking, that Father Rector used to tell, pin drop silence. Pin drop silence. All the time that Father Rector used to tell us. He's very strict and he walks up and down doing rounds along the corridors. And he used to tell us, I want pin drop silence. So how can you use student-centered methods like pair work, group work, discussions, drama and all that when Father Rector expects pin drop silence in the class, right? So that is school culture. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
That's the thing. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of our course. Actually speaking, all the topics are covered. So as we have another 10 minutes, I can actually give you a recap of what we have done so far. And I will make sure that I'm sending you all the lecture materials through the coordinator, right? I will. And if not, you can drop me a message. Give me 2-3 days. If you don't receive or if not uploaded to the LMS, that you can actually send me a message through the coordinator. And if I will discuss it with the faculty and see, there are 3 other days remaining. But anyway, Thursday, we will actually not do anything. If we want to do something, it's going to be revision. But we will skip that. We will take the last 2 days for our assignment PowerPoint presentation. So if so, I have to give you an assignment. So next time, then when we meet, I will send you the assignment. Next time we meet, we will do small revision and I will discuss the assignment with you. Then you have time. The 2 days are there for us to do the PowerPoint presentations as the assignment. So for that, we don't have to do a written assignment. Will it be okay with you? Will it be okay with you? Lamai.
Madam, do we have to do the PowerPoint presentation?
No, I have to check with the campus,
Okay.
right? So I will, if they are okay with that, because we have covered the syllabus, but there are, in the timetable, we have another 2 sessions, right? 3 sessions. Am I right?
Madam, they informed us only written assignments.
Only written assignments, no PowerPoint, they said that
Yes, madam.
for all the subjects. For psychology, yes, we made it a written one. For the other, all the subjects, it's written only there. But
Yes.
now we have 3 days set for it, for this module. Let me get back to you, okay?
Okay, madam.
Right after talking to them, I will get back to you. And what is discussed so far? Can I give him a call and see whether he responds now?
Okay, madam.
Madam, it's better.
Yeah. Um, no, I couldn't contact him. So anyway, we'll see. Now, so far what we have done, we first started with defining curriculum by looking at some definitions. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, it's a big discussion. Plan, vehicle, like that, lot of keywords. And I wanted you to develop your own definition of curriculum as well. And it's a big discussion because you have to know what curriculum is all about, right? It's actually the importance, right? How important this curriculum is in this learning and teaching process. So how important it is for the teacher to interpret the curriculum properly. Then we distinguish between curriculum and syllabus. Though they are interchangeably used, we actually looked at how they differ from each other කියලා. එක topic එකක් හරි. Then we discuss types of curriculum, explicit, implicit, null curriculum, like that, different types of curriculums we discussed. And we discuss curriculum design approaches to curriculum design, forward, backward, and central කියලා. Can you remember? Yes. Then we discuss the 4 components of the curriculum. The 4 components, ILOs, subject matter or the content, learning experience or methodology, and evaluation. And we took each part. ILOs, we discuss how national goals, educational goals or basic competencies, then objectives to be realized through the subjects taught in all the grades, and then competency and competency levels, subject-wise and grade-wise, and then specific objectives written by the teacher for each and every lesson, how they align කියලා. That is a bit of a, Wheeler's one. Okay. Then we discuss the 4 components will be content selection, content organization. So methodology based on behaviorism and constructivism, teacher-centered and student-centered, like that. Then evaluation, formative and summative. Like then we discussed curriculum theories. We discussed 4 main curriculum theories, so there are several others. We discussed only 4 main curriculum theories. Today also we actually recapped it. And then we discussed curriculum design models. We discussed 3 models, Tyler's model, Taba's model, and Wheeler's model. Then we discussed curriculum implementation by referring to what is curriculum implementation and what are the influential factors. Got it?
Yes, madam.
Right. Now you want the lecture note on Wheeler, right? For curriculum implementation, of course, I don't have one. I told you. And you can listen to the lecture note, so no problem. Wheeler's one I will send you now.
Okay.
Yeah. So assignment, of course, I will talk to you next time when I do revision, a bit of revision. And assignment will be discussed next time. So there are 2 other days remaining. I will see the possibility of getting you to do a PowerPoint, or if not PowerPoint, I have to set you a written assignment. Okay? That
Yes,
is
madam, they did not upload the LMS yet, the written assignment.
psychology one.
No, miss, curriculum theory.
I have not given them any.
Okay, madam, that's why.
Yeah,
Because
I have not given
last
them
lesson
any.
you told
Showed
us, right?
one, yeah. I
Yes.
have not given them any, dear. Okay.
Okay.
That of course I wanted to think whether it's possible. I want to discuss it with them. That is why I didn't give them. Okay.
Okay, madam. Thank
Right.
you.
I will do the needful in the meantime, so don't worry.
Okay, madam.
Vijayanti, where are you from?
I'm Abu Dhabi, madam. I'm from Abu Dhabi.
You said you're from Abu Dhabi.
Yes,
So
madam.
you're teaching there, right?
Yes, madam.
What do you teach?
I'm in year 1 early years, madam.
Good no.
Lower primary.
So it's a mixed culture, right?
Yes, madam.
Who are the students like? What nationalities like?
It's so many nationalities, madam. Most of them from India, Arab students, Pakistani.
What do you think of this mixed cultures in early childhood centers or education? How, what are the kind of any concerns or whatever? No, nothing. The
Yes,
medium
madam.
is English. Am I right?
Yes, yes,
Mm.
madam. Medium
So
is
they're coming
English.
from different cultures, their behaviors and emotions and all these are very different from each other, right? Especially
Yes,
in
yes,
young
madam. Very
ages.
different.
Mm.
Very different, especially Arabic students.
Why?
It's very hard to control.
Is that so?
Yes, madam.
Mm. Okay. I think we can stop now, right? Okay. What is the progress with your psychology assignment? Not
Actually,
yet
we are prepared.
started. Huh?
No, no, it's we started, madam. We are preparing.
Right. Others?
Yes.
What about others? Azana?
We have started writing, madam.
Kaushalya?
Started, madam.
Okay. Going okay?
Yes, madam.
All right. Then good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night, madam.
And, madam.
Good night,
Good
madam.
night, ma'am. Thank you.
Night, madam.